So let's go ahead and create the ribbon I was telling you about. I'm inside Photoshop and I'm going to go to the File menu. I'm going to create a new file. For the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to go for 960 by 550, so we have a lot of space. Resolution 72, background white, and click OK. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the rectangle tool, and then I'm going to click and drag to create one. Let's see, around here. I'm looking for a height like 40 pixels. Okay. Now, before you release the mouse, you can hold down the space bar and you can just move around and place this wherever you want to place it. So let's see, I like it to be here. Okay. Release the mouse, and now let's add a little bit of gradient here. So bring up your layers palette. Now double click where it says rectangle 1 to rename this. I'm going to call this, let's say, top rectangle. And then I'm going to add a layer style. So you can do this by pressing this FX icon here, or you can just go to the layer menu, layer style, and let's go for the gradient overlay. So for here, here's the menu here. Just click on the gradient and you're going to see more gradients. Now in my case, I've added some gradients. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset my gradients. So I'm going to click on this icon here. I'm going to say reset gradients and click OK. Now if you want to add some gradients, which I did already before, you're going to click on this icon again and you're going to add one of these categories here. So let's say I'm going to go for the pastels. You're going to click append, and then I'm going to go for this gradient right here, green, yellow, orange. I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to add a drop shadow. I'm going to go for like a small distance of 2, and then 4, and then say 30%. And I'm going to click OK. All right. All right. Now let's go ahead and bring up the rulers here, because I want to draw some guides. And before you do that, make sure that you go to the View menu and you have Snap on. Okay. So when you bring up the guides here, you will be able to snap, and you're going to feel the snap in the mouse. So click and drag one. Here we go. It snaps. One there, 2. One in the middle. Right at the edge. Another one right here. And another one a little bit outside. Okay. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. And I think that's pretty good. Let me just bring this just a tad. There you go. I'm going to select the pen tool and make sure that you're doing a shape. Okay, so this way it's going to add a layer by itself over here. Click once. And then just close it here. Okay, so what's that? Let's say that's a corner. Okay, click and drag this underneath. Now I want the corner to have the same gradient and drop shadow, so I'm just going to right click here. I'm going to copy layer style and then click on this corner, right click and paste layer style. And there you go. Okay, let's move this a bit. And I'm using the down arrow key on my keyboard. Alright, something like that, let's say. And then what I want to do is I want to click on this guide here. I'm just going to push it down a bit. I'm going to take the pen tool again. And click, click, click. And just create that. Alright. Now this one, I can actually have another color. So I'll click on the fill here. Let's see, maybe we can use that kind of color. Okay. All right. We can maybe rename this, let's say, I don't know, behind shape, whatever. Use your own name here, just naming something. All right. Now what we're going to do is, let me zoom out for a second. And then I'm going to go to the View menu and I'm going to clear the guides. I need to do one more thing here. I'm going to select the rectangular marquee tool and I'm going to create just a rectangular around there. Okay, and I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to fill this with black. So go to the edit menu, fill, and from the drop down menu select black. Click OK, select, deselect. Okay, this is like let's call this blur shape or rectangle or whatever. And I'm going to go to the filter menu, blur, and we're going to Gaussian blur. Don't go too crazy with this, just a little bit. Click OK. Drag this underneath. Now you want to lower the opacity. You can do this a couple of ways. You can just drag this like that, or you can just press 5 on your keyboard, on your numeric keyboard, and automatically becomes 50%. Okay. Now I'm going to use my right arrow key to move this a bit. Zoom out, and I think it looks pretty good. Alright, now what you want to do is you want to duplicate this and move it to the other side. So the layers that I want to target is the blur, rectangle, the behind shape, and the corner. So shift select those three, go to the drop down menu here, and create a new group from layers, from these 3 layers, and I'm going to call this left group, for example. I'm going to duplicate this. You can just say duplicate group, or you can just click and drag this over here. Double click and rename this right group like so. And I'm going to make this invisible for a second. I'm going to select the move tool, and then here on the options you can do either layer or group. Now you want to select group so it moves the whole group. So click and drag and hold on the shift key then to move this across. I'm going to make this visible for a second, and I'm going to use my right arrow key. Then I'm going to go to the edit menu, free transform, right click or control click, flip horizontally, and accept the changes. Let's nudge it even more to the right, and I'm looking for something like this. Okay, so altogether you can just select all of them, and you can just kind of center it here. And basically this is how we create a ribbon menu.